Good evening. I'd like to call this Scotch Plains Fairwood Board of Education regular public meeting to order, January 31st, 2019. Mrs. Saradaki, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Bauer?
Here.
Mrs. Boroff?
Here.
Mrs. Brody?
Here.
Dr. Clancy?
Here.
Mrs. Suriani?
Here.
Mrs. Williams?
Here.
Mr. Murray?
Here.
Dr. Kulikowski?
Here.
Quorum is present.
Thank you, Mrs. Saradaki. Will you please join me in the salute to the flag? Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. So in executive session, we spoke about the personnel agenda, the HIB report, legal status report, negotiations update, and a contract with Westfield Public Schools regarding the track. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Scotch Plains Fanwood Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the Board of Education offices located at Cedar Street and Evergreen Avenue, Scotch Plains, New Jersey. Such notice was also provided in written notice forwarded to the Times, Township Clerk of Scotch Plains, and the Borough Clerk of Fanwood in the annual notice of regularly scheduled meetings as adopted March 29th, 2018. Additions to the agenda since Monday, the 28th. One LET, email from Bill and Joan Ferguson regarding ice hockey. 2 LET, another email from Andy and Ellen Staple regarding ice hockey. And 17 BUS, submission of the Ellie Grant application. At this time, we'll go to the instructional update.
So we just want to switch that agenda for a moment. I'm going to hold the instructional update until after the first open public meeting for comment.
Okay, Dr. Haynes. So then going to the open public comment, in accordance with policy 9322R, the meeting will be held open for 15 minutes for public comments with a maximum of 2 minutes per speaker. This will be the first of 3 opportunities for the public comment. Speakers addressing the board, priority items, letters to the board, and the superintendent's report, including the instructional update, will be heard first, and if time remains, speakers may address other matters. When you come to the podium, please state your name and the town in which you reside.
It's my turn. Good evening, everyone. My name is Regina Gannon. I am from Scotch Plains. We have a little surprise for you this evening, and I apologize for the interruption and impromptu. My name is Regina Gannon, as I stated. I am the PTA Council President here in Scotch Plains Fanwood. The council is made up of representatives from each of our 8 school PTAs, as well as representatives from community-based organizations that serve the needs of our young people. Among other things, we try to organize, guide, and mentor one another through the process of running a very busy PTA chapter, as you know. For those who might not know, January is New Jersey's School Board Appreciation Month. This is a time to raise public awareness of the roles and responsibilities of local boards of education and to thank them for their volunteer efforts. In total, New Jersey school boards oversee 581 school districts, which in turn operate 2,500 public schools and provide educational services to nearly 1.4 million children. School boards set the policies for our schools and make important decisions affecting curriculum, financing, and staffing. Back in 2010, then Scotch Plains Fanwood PTA Council President Gina Giacona created the tradition of honoring the Board of Education for their volunteer time, commitment, energy, intellect, goodwill, and good sense. This evening has since become a tradition we all look forward to. We would like to present you tonight with a very small token of our appreciation. When your name is called, please come up to receive your gift from one of our PTA Executive Board members. The first being Karen Kolakowski, and I will be presenting to you tonight. And congratulations, Mr. President. Thank you. Appreciate you coming out. Oh, please. Thank you. Thank you. Evan Murray, presented by Jennifer Power. She has two hats, Terrell Middle School PTA President, as well as our corresponding secretary and recording secretary for our PTA Council. And Jennifer's not going to go anywhere yet because she has another person to present to, Nancy Bauer. Next, Deb Brody. Kathleen Stovall from the high school. She is our PTA president. Thank you so much for your service. Cindy Clancy. Amy Lavoie, our VP at Brunner, will be presenting to you tonight. Tanya Williams. Jamie Tibbles, our VP at Brunner, also will be presenting to you tonight. Thanks, Tom. Stephanie Suriani. Nilamri Save, our PTA president at McGinn, will be presenting to you tonight. Amy Boroff. Suzanne Bjorkland, our PTA president at Evergreen, will be presenting to you.
Thank you.
And Amy Winkler.
She's not here tonight.
Did I get everybody? I got everybody.
That's okay.
Thank you all so much. As volunteers ourselves, we really and truly appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you'd like, we can get that to Amy. Yes.
That would be great. Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you for coming out on such a cold night and thinking of us and working, with the students and the extra time at the school. I also was a PTA council president and a PTA president at Park Middle School for 3 years, so I know how much work goes into it, but I appreciate all your efforts and continuing the traditions of the PTA with our students.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Maybe it's a good time to mention, as an example of one of the things you do, that the PTA Board Coffee is coming up on next February 5th. It's Tuesday, right?
7:30.
At 7:30 at Taro. So just one more example of the things that you all organize and partner on.
Anybody else?
And I'd like to thank our students in the back for coming out.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you again.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
I have to say, we're so fortunate to have such a strong working relationship with our PTAs. It's been delightful for me to work with Mrs. Gannon this year as PTA Council President. All of you do so much on behalf of our schools. You really enrich the lives of our students through all of your volunteer work, and I just remain eternally grateful for all the work that you do to support all of us, so thank you.
Is there anybody else that wishes to come forward?
Okay, so now we go to the instructional update. And so I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Mast, who will introduce Gita Faria, our K-12 science supervisor.
Yes, Gita Faria is going to give us an update on some grants that she has brought to the district in conjunction with teachers from both Park Middle School and Terrell Middle School. She has been very focused on finding STEAM opportunities with the teachers. She's been championing that effort, and we will see evidence of it this evening.
Hi, thank you, Joan. Good evening. So I'm very happy to be here to talk about a couple of STEM opportunities that we're going to have at both of our middle schools. This opportunity arose from the Union County Scholars Grant Program, and with that application, it was open to K-12 school districts with the focus in one of three areas, so either project-based learning, after-school STEM, or out-of-school STEM as well. So I had the pleasure of collaborating with various teachers and both principals from Park Middle School and Terrell Middle School, and we applied for 3 of those grants, 2 in project-based learning and 1 in after-school STEM program. I am happy to share that the Scotch Plains Fanwood School District is one of 15 school districts that have been awarded these grants, and even prouder to say that we were awarded all 3 grants. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of talk a little bit about each grant. So starting with Park Middle School, I'll start with our after-school STEM program. This was a after-school STEM grant will go towards the purchase of a 3D printer that will be used with our new STEAM club that's being held there. So Ms. Erica Toto, she is our tech ed teacher, myself, and Dr. Jocelyn Dumaresque, our principal. We got together, and when we learned about this opportunity, we really wanted to focus on how we can best use this opportunity to really enhance the new club at the school. And we were kind of inspired by some of the other STEM activities that we already have going on. So as you may be aware, we do junior solar sprints, and junior solar sprint is where we have students from both schools, and what they do is they design solar-powered cars where the objective is to have the car go the furthest distance a given distance in the shortest amount of time. During the final state or the regional final competition, we noticed that some students were able to 3D print parts for the car, and that gives us an advantage because with 3D printing, you're able to make a little bit more complex designs, and they're going to be sturdier and they're going to be lightweight, which means you can get greater speed in the car. So thinking back to this, we were inspired that we can provide similar opportunities for our students in the STEAM club. And so our goal is that students will be tasked with something, whether it be something like a solar power or another task where they'll be designing a prototype. And in the first design stage, they're going to be using your traditional balsa wood, foam paper, foam board, paper to design their prototype, and they'll be testing it. In the second phase, what they'll be doing is picking their design and seeing how they can improve it by using 3D printing. They will have to go and design those components or whatever they see is best fit to improve functionality using CAD software, Tinkercad or SketchUp, which is available to us. And then once they have those designs, they can actually 3D print them and go ahead and be able to improve the new design compared to their original design. This is a great opportunity for our students because they'll really get to see the iterative design process, and it's also a way to introduce our students to technical drawings, which they can then take as electives at our high school. Grant number 1. The second grant was inspired by 2 of our 6th grade teachers, Ms. Margaret Brown and Mr. John Schultz. And Ms. Margaret Brown has always had a dream of doing a fossil dig in her classroom, and she's expressed that to me. So when this opportunity came up, I said, Peggy, we can finally do it. So when I told her about it, we met together and we came up with a unit. It's a project-based learning called Written in Stone, A Geologic History of New Jersey. So through this unit, to hit our geology standards, our earth and space science standards, students are going to be given a cross-section of the New Jersey highlands, and they're going to be performing a simulated fossil dig. And taking information from the rock strata as well as the fossil identification, they're going to be able to recreate kind of the events that have happened to shape the landscape of New Jersey. In addition to really just getting to know how you can record and engrave the history in rock, it also gives them an opportunity to explore careers in paleontology and geology. And we're going to use that grant as for the purchase of the fossils that we would need and the materials needed for that fossil dig. Finally, but not least, this is also a pretty interesting one. This was with Mr. Michael Wallinter. He's our 7th grade teacher at Terrell Middle School. Dr. Holloway worked together to come up with another project-based learning grant for aquaponics, looking for the best solution to a growing problem. And this unit was developed with also Serafina Scalfaro. She is the other 7th grade teacher at Terrell. So in this interdisciplinary unit, students are going to study aquaponics and how aquaponics can be used to really enhance nutrition and be able to help sustainable agriculture. So for those who may not know, aquaponics is the mixture of, I need to look up the term, aquaculture, or better known as fish farming, and hydroponics, which is where you're able to grow plants using simply water, and kind of combine both of those systems into a symbiotic relationship so that you can kind of create your ecosystem and see. So what happens is the plants kind of use the waste from the fish as their nutrients, and in turn they're cleaning the water for the fish. So you could be growing food, and because you can fish farm, and you can also be growing plants. Part of the reason why this is important, how this is tied into our curriculum, is that we all know plants need both sunlight and they also require nutrients that come from the soil. Unfortunately, because of agriculture, failure for crop rotation, and the deforestation, some of those nutrients are slowly, quickly becoming depleted, and so it is a finite resource. So we're looking for opportunities of how to really feed an increasing population. The grant for that one will be to purchase the aquaponic and hydroponic systems so the students can work on finding conditions to optimal plant growth.
Yeah, wow, I was right.
Impressive. Those are really
Where in Terrell are they going to do the aquaponics?
So you can actually purchase like small aquarium that you can set up as aquaponic systems. So Mr. Wallinter is fortunate enough that has windows where sunlight comes in all the time, so that'll be where they set it up.
Great. I can't wait to see this in action.
I'm excited.
What would really be great is if the students would come back and present, so we could hear from them about what they learned in some of these projects.
Stay
the
tuned.
STEAM
We will
clubs.
try to bring it up.
And take some photos.
Absolutely. So that's part of when we're doing this, is to really take photos, and we're also hoping that this kind of becomes part of our just normal curriculum in both 6th and 7th grade.
I appreciate you taking the time to investigate and get the grants and to be awarded them so that the students do have the opportunities in both of the middle schools.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Those are great.
Moving on, are there any committee reports this evening? I know we had quite a few last week. No one? Okay. Letters to the board. We did the two that were the additions to the agenda. One LET, the email from Bill and Joan Ferguson from January 11th regarding ice hockey coaches. 2 LET, receipt of letter dated also January 11th from Andy and Ellen Staple, also regarding ice hockey coaches. Superintendent's report, Dr. Hayes.
Thank you, Dr. Kulikowski. So tonight, we do not have any additional out-of-district placements. 2S tonight, I would ask the board approve the superintendent's decisions in the one HIP case that was reported on December 12th.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you. 3S tonight, I would ask that the board approve the 3 field trips that are listed on the agenda. 50 middle school and high school students are going to attend the Met HD live presentation of Carmen, actually this Saturday. And then another group will be going on March 2nd to La Ville du Regiment. These are held at the AMC Lowe's Theater in East Hanover, New Jersey. There's no cost to attend because this is part of our working with the Met, where they have afforded us this very generous opportunity. On Wednesday, April 3rd, approximately 10 middle school students will be going to from Terrell's Book Chatter Club, will be going to the New York Public Library. And then we have 20 self-contained students at McGinn who are going to visit the Imagine Museum in Florham Park on May 10th.
All those in favor? Aye. Do we have opposed?
Do we have a motion and a second on that?
Oh, excuse me. Can I have a motion for Dr. Hayes? So moved. Second, please.
Second.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. No one's opposed. Nobody abstained. Thank you.
Thank you. At our last meeting, you approved the curriculum amendments that we did, so thank you for that. And tonight, 5S, I would ask that the board approve the proposed school calendar for 2019-20. This includes the calendar for the district as well as the 12-month calendar.
Can I have a motion? So moved. Second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries.
So tonight, 6S, I would ask that you just acknowledge Wayne Millette and Jan Allen for successfully applying for the grant from the Union County for the Night at the Theater Grant Award in the amount of $1,750. I believe it's also on the business agenda to accept the grant funds. So 6S is just thanking and acknowledging Wayne Millette and Jan Allen for taking this leadership.
Have a motion? So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries.
And 7S, I would ask that the board approve the 2019 Memorandum of Agreement with law enforcement. This is their annual agreement between law enforcement officials and education officials that helps govern our relationship with our police departments.
Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries.
Thank you. And then, under the personnel agenda, I would ask that the board approve the personnel agenda as reviewed in exec this evening.
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Saradaki, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Brody?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mrs. Bauer?
Yes.
Ms. Boroff?
Yes.
Dr. Clancy?
Yes.
Mrs. Soriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
And Dr. Kulikowski?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, and that concludes my report.
In accordance with Policy 9322-R, the meeting will be opened again for 15 minutes for public comments. Maximum 2 minutes per speaker. Speakers addressing the business functions and other board business will be heard first. If time remains, speakers may address other matters. When you come to the podium, please state your name and the town in which you reside. Seeing no one, there still is one more opportunity later in the meeting. That brings us to the business functions. Mrs. Saradaki?
Yes, I'd like to block these if there's no opposition to that. 1BUS, I'm asking the board to approve the superintendent's recommendations for staff training reimbursements on the report date January 31st, 2019. 2BUS, I'm asking the board to acknowledge receipt of disbursement listings for various bank accounts for the month of December 2018. 3BUS, I'm asking the board to acknowledge receipt of the district school security and fire drill reports for the month of December 2018. 4BUS, I'm asking for the board to approve related services as listed: nursing services, itinerant services, and school psychologist. 5BUS, I'm asking the board to accept the 2018 Union County Night at the Theater Grant Award in the amount of $1,750 from Union County Board of Freeholders. 6BUS, I'll ask the board to approve the revised facility usage rental charges, which supersede building usage rental charges established in March 2009. 7BUS, I'm asking the board to approve a piece of equipment purchased in 1995, which has since been replaced with more up-to-date equipment. And this is the public address system in the Kohl's multipurpose room. 8 BUS, I'm asking the board to improve the $2,500 fee for Macquarie's Capital to provide the rollover services for GASB 75 for the 2018-19 audit. 9 BUS, I'm asking for the board to approve renewal of an agreement with prevention specialists for the random drug testing for our transportation personnel. And that's for calendar year 2019. 10 BUS, I'm asking the board to approve renewal of the Honeywell service agreement for our emergency communications with families and staff, and that's for the period March 1st, 2019 through August 30th, 2019, in the amount of $4,087.50. That's no change from what we've paid in the prior year. 11 BUS, I'm asking for the board to approve the renewal of the Alert Solutions Agreement for the period of February 1st, 2019 to June 30th, 2019. You'll notice this is a partial year. This is to bring it in line with our school year. 12 BUS, the business reports were already approved. 13 at our last meeting. 13 BUS, I'm asking the board to approve the bill list for the period December 16th, 2018 through January 25th, 2019 in the amount of $5,157,078.97. 14 BUS was approved at the January 24th meeting. On that parental contract, we have found transportation since this was put into place, and we will have a bus company starting on Monday. So, and 15 BUS, I'm asking the board to accept the grant awarded to the high school for the 2018 ExxonMobil Education Alliance Grant for encouraging studies and careers in math and science in the amount of $500. 16 BUS, I'm asking the board to accept the 3 grant awards which were described this evening during the educational update for STEAM, I'm sorry. 17 BUS, I'm asking for the board to approve submission of the 2019-20 ELLE grant application for $49,500. That's an assumed amount because that's the amount we've received every year. So we don't anticipate any increase in that amount. And that's all I have.
Do I have a motion for Mrs. Saradaki's business motions?
So moved. Second. Oh, not yet. Yes. Yes, yet? Sorry. Sorry. Okay.
Any discussion or questions?
I have a question. What is the Alert Solutions Agreement? What is that? That's clearly different than the Honeywell.
That's that's part of Power School.
Okay.
And it will be for non-urgent messages.
Oh, okay. We're in the process of getting that launched so that it can be used flexibly by the principals and by the central office as needed to communicate directly with parents in non-emergency situations. In the next couple of weeks, parents will be receiving a letter about how to sign up to use that. We wanted to roll out something that would give us the capacity to send information in a different format without it feeling like it's an emergency.
Because Honeywell will still be used for the emergency.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And if it's rolling out, just correct me if I'm wrong, the agreement is for February 1st. Does it prorate from when we start using it? No.
I'm sorry, what?
Dr. Hayes was saying that the alert system is not in place yet.
We have it connected and set up because we had to interface it with Power School.
Okay.
So we're in stage 2, which is enabling parents to then sign up for it.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, just about 9 BUS. How, in a year, how many random drug tests do we have? Or I assume that's mandated by somebody.
We have 7 bus drivers, and the number is determined by the number of drivers you have and by law. And there's, so based on the number of bus drivers, they're required to do a certain number of alcohol tests and a certain number of drug tests per year. Sometimes it ends up the same person goes 2 or 3 times because it's random, so, but the company is the one that actually sends us, today you need to send this person, and then we send them to the center.
Thank you. I have a question. Is it during school time, or do they go after work?
No, they go, essentially, if we receive it late in the day, we won't tell them till the next day, and we'll say, as soon as they're done with their run in the morning, instead of doing alternative work, we send them immediately.
Okay.
Is it supposed to be?
Unannounced?
Yes.
Right, yes. Okay, thank you. Any others? Okay, it's been motioned and seconded, we've discussed it. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion passes. Board policies, Amy's not here, did anybody else have any policies?
We haven't met. We've just received another update from Strauss Esme, so I'll be setting up a committee meeting, and we'll be moving forward with another list of policies.
Thank you, Dr. Hayes. Any new board business? None? Okay. Other board business, requests to attend workshops. Workshop reports.
I would like to report about the Garden State Coalition of Schools. Dr. Hayes and I braved the snow squall, literally, to get to the meeting yesterday afternoon, and John Moon, the featured guest was John Mooney from New Jersey Spotlight, and it really was a conversation. It was partially to have his input, but I think he also really wanted to pick the brains of people who were there. I think they've been, New Jersey Spotlight started around 10 years ago. They're celebrating an anniversary, and he was talking about the themes that have been important or were important then in covering schools. And what he said is, actually, really, they're still the same themes today: school funding, the cost of special education, so forth, that many of the things had remained the same. A lot of the discussion back and forth centered around mandates and unfunded mandates, laws that are passed, and the fact that the legislature tends to think, oh, additional recess time, that sounds like a great thing, and they just pass that. And of course, superintendents were talking about how they're having to hire more PE teachers and what a challenge this is in terms of scheduling and these kinds of things. So there was also a discussion just about many of the recent things that have been implemented over the last few years, New Jersey Achieve, and a number of these things, and really talking about the fact that they had had unintended consequences. They had not ended up, they had, in many cases, been more negative than positive. And it was also mentioned that there's a delay in the budget numbers coming, and that will move the calendar back some. So that was, Dr. Hayes, maybe you have something else to add, but...
It was a very good, frank discussion, and it is interesting that some of the themes remain the same, and we're just continuing within the state to have a challenge trying to balance property tax relief with, at the same time, giving appropriate support for special education funding, and at the same time, not doing any damage to districts in terms of their overall funding. The only other big thing that was discussed was the shift in the school funding formula, which over the next couple of years, there are certain districts that are going to receive far less funding, and some that will remain the same, and some that will receive a little more. So,
And also the fact that some districts are really struggling because of charter schools in their districts and losing very large amounts of money.
and the challenge in terms of also line items in their budget that they don't have a lot of control over. For example, health benefits. So the theme generally was some of the superintendents there and board members do represent districts that are seeing significant decreases in school funding over the next, at least state aid funding over the next couple of years, and their concerns about what that's going to do to their programs, class size, et cetera.
That's it.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Dr. Hayes. For other board business, we have the Black History Month for February. Someone want to make the motion? The resolution?
Oh, to just read it, you mean? So I'll do it. Okay.
Thank you, Deb.
You're welcome. Move that the Board of Education adopts the following resolution. Whereas the Scotch Plains-Fanwood Board of Education recognizes the extensive civil, social, and religious contributions made by African Americans, including residents of Scotch Plains and Fanwood, and whereas the board further recognize the vital importance of affording all residents of Scotch Plains and Fanwood, especially young persons, the opportunity to study and understand Black history, both nationally and with respect to the communities of Scotch Plains and Fanwood and the County of Union, for the purpose of ensuring that our citizens, especially young persons, are fully familiar with the entire history of human experience. Now therefore be it resolved that the Scotch Plains-Fanwood Board of Education hereby proclaims the month of February 2019 as Black History Awareness Month.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Evan. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? I didn't think so. Motion carries. And then for other board business, the committee assignments we spoke about last week. So it leads us to the affordable housing, appointment of a liaison. Mayor Smith had requested we appoint someone to be on the affordable housing committee. So I'd like to have a motion for someone to be that liaison.
I will.
Thank you, Cindy. And,
Need to second that?
yes, you can second that.
Second.
Thank you, Stephanie. And what about if you can't make a meeting, can we have an alternate?
I move Tanya.
Thank you, Nancy. Oh, thank
I don't
you,
know if we
Evan.
have to vote on make it part of the first motion.
Okay, so we'll combine that. So Cindy will be the liaison with Tanya as the alternate. Any other question or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And no one's abstaining? Motion carries. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Tanya. It's going to be the second Wednesday at 6 o'clock. The exact location, I don't know. Would have to find out from Mayor Smith if it was going to be at the town hall or anywhere else. We'll get that for you. Okay, next we had the approval of the minutes. Mrs. Sardecki, it's not stored, but I don't remember
I just noticed that.
voting on that list, so we do have to vote on it this time. Okay, so could I have a motion to approve the minutes from our December 12th executive and regular board meetings?
So moved.
Second. Deb, second. Any questions or comments or abstentions? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And there were no abstentions. Motion carries. Thank you. And then this is our third and final opportunity for public comment, as per Regulation 9322-R, with a maximum of 2 minutes per speaker. Please state your name and the town in which you reside. Seeing no one, we'll close that portion of the meeting and move on to the good of the order. Anyone? Deb?
I have two things. The first is I am MAC liaison, and I was just given notification today of Narcan training on February 7th in Roselle Park, February 19th in Plainfield, and February 26th at 6:30, and it's open to anyone who's at risk of an opioid overdose or their family and friends. And if anybody's interested, I'll send this flyer. I just got it today.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And the second thing is, I was a volunteer over at Grim Reaper yesterday at the high school, which I did it many, many years ago when my kids were in school. It was, it's always very fascinating. The kids, if you don't know what it is, they do a statistic of how many kids are injured and killed in car accidents during a school day. And kids throughout the school, they volunteer, and there's a Grim Reaper, and then there is an escort. And so you're all dressed up and nobody, in a mask and the whole thing. And you go to each class and your escort reads a scenario of somebody who's died and been injured in a car crash in Scotch Plains at high school. And then they pick this kids out of the class. And then the kids, we escort them down to another room, and if they were wearing a lighter colored purple t-shirt, because this all goes in context with, I think, Purple Week, then they're injured. If they're in a dark colored purple with a sign, then they're dead. And the point is that they cannot speak to anybody, and no one can speak to them for the rest of the day as if they are no longer there. So it's impactful. It was very interesting to see. I was the Grim Reaper, so nobody knew who I was, and there's community support, there's parental support. Liz O'Dell Gordon does a great job pulling the whole thing together. Both police chiefs were there. There was somebody from Rossi Funeral Home there, because at the end of the day, they took the juniors and seniors into the gym, and then they had an assembly where they had both police chiefs speak. I don't remember his name, a representative from Rossi Funeral Home, who actually went through how you create an obituary and how they have to ask the parents how to create their child's obituary. And then they had a teacher in school who lost her boyfriend during college through a drunk driver, this is run in conjunction with DECA, so we can thank the DECA Club as well. So it was very good, a lot of work, and really we had long time residents and past PTA and grandparents participate as well. So it was very rewarding. So,
Well, thanks for sharing that, and I'm glad you were able to attend yesterday. Dr. Clancy, you had your hand up?
Yes, on a lighter note, last Sunday was the Union County Swim Championships at Rutgers, and our young men's team, they were in a battle with both Summit and Westfield and came in third, did a great job. And the girls, it was epic. They were in a duel with Westfield. They were not expected to win, so those of us watching were just gabbing, not thinking that we need to be watching. Anyway, they made some, every girl who swam the top 16 swimmers in each event, every girl who swam scored points for the team. Unlike other years, there was only one first place, so everybody needed to come together, and they did, and they won. So it was the 5th county championship in a row for the swim team, and it was very satisfying for both the swimmers and fans alike.
Very good. Congratulations.
Very exciting.
Glad you were there for that, too.
Yeah, it was very.
Anybody else?
So I have a couple. So in the vein of celebrating, in addition to the girls who did a great job with the 5th straight Union County Championship, our boys winter track won the Group 3 State Relay Championship, making it their first at that particular meet that they've done that. So they won in the distance medley relay, they took a 2nd place. In the shuttle hurdle relay, they took a 2nd. The 4x200, a 4th place. The team high jump, a 6th place. Pole vault, a 3rd place, and the 4x400, a 1st place. So they are still competing. So a few meetings down the road, we can expect to be recognizing our girls and the boys' winter track.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Dr. Kulkowski?
Sure.
Next week, we start our first time doing central registration for kindergarten.
Oh, wow.
It begins on February 4th here at the board office in the mornings, and there's a schedule on our district website.
So kindergarten registration. All right. Thank you, Mrs. Repembus. Okay, if there's no more announcements, we're having the upcoming meeting that Mrs. Bauer alluded to before, February 5th, PTA Coffee with the Board of Ed, Terrell Middle School at 7:30 PM. And then our next open agenda meeting will be February 21st, and 28th will be our regular public meeting. Therefore, can I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Didn't think so. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.